Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello and welcome to this episode of GLOW Heartfulness Webinar. The greatest minds are capable of the greatest vices as well as of the greatest virtues, said Rene Descartes. So when I say the word virtue, what comes to your mind? I'm sure qualities like joy, compassion, happiness, bliss, integrity, gratitude, and so many of these beautiful virtues comes to your mind. Today we have with us Stacey Thompson, who is a certified life coach, and she's the founder of Virtues for Life. It's a website aimed at helping people explore and practice virtues such as gratitude, hope, compassion, courage, perseverance, and forgiveness to live a more thriving and purposeful daily life. Thank you for joining us today, Stacey. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Purnima.
So as we begin the webinar, my first question to you would be, what's a virtue?
Virtues are the moral excellence of a person. Morally excellent people have a character made up of good virtues, such as kindness, forgiveness, gratitude, and they don't bend to impulses. They do the right thing. And the word virtues comes from the Latin term virtus, which means force, worth, power. And really, virtues are our superpowers. They're our inner strengths that help us to live a better life. For example, courage helps us move past our fears to get what we want. Forgiveness helps heal the pain of suffering from holding on to a grudge or resentment, which increases our well-being. And hope has us believe anything is possible, which has us stay the course, really. So each one of these virtues have their own unique powers. And really, the key with virtue is the practice of them. And the more we cultivate virtue in our life, the more it's going to become a habit and more natural to us.
So my next question to you would be, what are the virtues you suggest that we can practice, or what are the inner strengths or qualities which we can imbibe so that we can lead a happy life? I've received a lot of questions from the participants where they've asked about joy, grace, bliss. So what are the qualities which you suggest can help us increase those qualities?
Sure, there's really, Purnima, there's three key virtues which I think have the most impact on our happiness, and that is courage, purpose, and gratitude. Gratitude has us shift our mindset from the negative to the positive. Purpose creates more meaning in our life, and compassion increases our bond with others. So all of these results from our practicing these virtues really impact our happiness, and that's why I chose three virtues today. And Aristotle, philosopher Aristotle, he linked happiness with virtue. He said that we should strive in our lives to obtain complete virtue, and that means all of the virtues. And he said he is happy who lives in accordance with complete virtue and is sufficiently equipped with external goods, health, knowledge, friends, etc., not for some chance period, but throughout a complete life. So he really believed that to live a better life is to practice virtue and to strive for these virtues in our life.
Can you define gratitude? You spoke about these three virtues: gratitude, compassion, and purpose. I would like for you to define gratitude.
Sure. Gratitude is recognizing and acknowledging the good in our life. It's having a thankful appreciation for all that is good that surrounds us. And there's an author, Melody Beattie, and she writes a beautiful quote, which I think perfectly defines the power of gratitude. And that is, gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. I just think that's such a beautiful way to describe gratitude. And she writes quite a bit about gratitude. So how does gratitude make us happier? It increases our happiness by 25%, as scientifically proven. And there was a study done by Drs. Robert Emmons and Dr. Michael McCullough, and it was done in 2003. And what they did is they took three groups of people, and they had them write in a journal for 10 weeks. The first group wrote all that they were grateful for in the past week. The second group wrote about their hassles or annoyances in the past week. And the third group, which served as a neutral group, They wrote down just the events of the past week, so no positive or negative emphasis on these events. And what they found is that after 10 weeks of the study, that the people who practiced gratitude had were 25% happier than the other two groups. And they also found that they had a better outlook on life and were really more optimistic. And these two gentlemen did, a number of other studies after. And I just want to read you a quick quote about the results of the study by Dr. Robert Emmons, and he's author of the book, Thanks. Our groundbreaking research has shown that grateful people experience higher levels of positive emotions such as joy, enthusiasm, love, happiness, and optimism, and that the practice of gratitude as a discipline protects a person from the destructive impulses of envy, resentment, greed, and bitterness. We have discovered that a person who experiences gratitude is able to cope more effectively and with everyday stress, may show increased resilience in the face of trauma-induced stress, and may recover more quickly from illness and benefit from greater physical health. So not only does gratitude increase our happiness, but we also experience many other health benefits, as his research has shown. And Dr. Robert Emmons has said that gratitude is one of the key ways that can change our life in immeasurably ways. The second point of how gratitude makes us happier is that it shifts our mindset from the negative to positive. This is in the most simplistic form. So imagine for a moment that you're on a beach, it's a beautiful day, and you're thinking about all that you need to do at home. You're just feeling guilty being there maybe, and you're thinking about your frustrations at work or in a relationship, and you're just not able to relax. You feel tense, but then you notice how beautiful the clouds look and how they're moving slowly across the sky. And you see the sun glistening on the ocean, and you feel the warmth of the sun on your body, and you pick up some sand and you feel its grains moving through your fingers. And you start to feel a lift in spirit. And really, this is the power of gratitude. We can shift our thinking in that way. And it does take practice, especially when we're tense and we are frustrated or we have negative feelings going on. It's not so easy to do. Like, for example, we're in this pandemic right now, and a lot of people have lost loved ones, they've lost their jobs, they're financially struggling, but we may not be able to do this right away because we're either grieving or we're angry, but in time, gratitude can be used as a tool to help us see the good. And we might have to look really hard, but there is good in everything. So that's the first point of gratitude. And really, it puts us into the present moment. So we feel the fullness of life in the most heart-centered way. You could be sitting in traffic and you could practice gratitude. You could just listen to your favorite song and hear the instruments, or you can look around and at other people and just think about the goodness of people, or just think about where you're going and that you're going to have a good time. So really, it's just the practice of it to have it more prevalent in your life. So how do we practice gratitude? So the main way is to devote time each day to reflect on what you are grateful for in life. And you can do this by keeping a gratitude journal, which is a very popular thing to do these days. You could write 3 to 5 things that you are grateful for. You could do this in the morning, at night, or both. There are also online resources to keep a gratitude journal online if you choose. And there is one great gratitude resource called gratefulness.org. And there you can keep an online journal. So whatever you prefer, written or online. And, you could also just think quietly to yourself about what you're thankful for in life. And this is what I do each morning when I get up. I just quietly give thanks. I mean, for me, I'm Catholic, so I thank God for his many blessings, for my health, the health of my family. And that's what I do every morning. So the second way to practice gratitude is by writing a thank you note. Thank you notes are a great way to tell people how we appreciate them. So just tell you a quick story about a man named John Kralik. He was a middle-aged man at the time. He was losing his small law firm. He had grown distant from his 2 children, and he was 40 pounds overweight. His girlfriend had also broken up with him a few days before Christmas, but they still exchanged gifts on Christmas Eve. So on New Year's Day, he decided to take a walk on a trail in Pasadena. And during this walk, he thought to himself, my life could be somewhat more tolerable if I can just focus on what I have instead of what I don't have. So that's when he decided that he'd write thank you notes to people to express his gratitude for all their kindness and support over the years. So he decided to write gratitude every day for 365 days in the upcoming year, which certainly would be a challenge. So he went home and he opened his mailbox, and in there was a note from his ex-girlfriend. And I just want to read you the note, which is out of his book called 365 Thank Yous. Great book. So his ex-girlfriend writes, "Dear John, thank you for the wonderful gifts you gave to me. I really enjoyed the time we shared together on Christmas Eve. You are a joy, and I truly appreciate how special you make me feel. Love, Grace." So that simple note further inspired John to write the 365 thank you notes. He started with friends and family, and then he had to stretch himself to store clerks, doctors. So it was a challenge, but at the end of the year in his book, he says that it radically changed his life. He lost the weight. He gained more inner peace in his life. He financially gained more success as well. And I just want to read to you what he wrote at the end of the book. "At the risk of making an unscientific and directly moral statement, I will say that writing thank you notes is a good thing to do and makes the world a better place. It also made me a better man. More than success or material achievement, this is what I sought." And this is the power of virtues. It makes us better people. I just love that quote. So lastly, the way to practice, another way to practice gratitude is by noticing and embracing our surroundings. And it's just like the beach scene where we just stop for a moment and consciously shift our thinking. And it's going to take some work because, our minds have a negative bias. We're constantly thinking of, what we lack, what we don't have. It does take some work to actually focus on what you do have and what's abundant in life. So that's just to start to notice is really a good way to practice gratitude.
Thank you so much, Stacey. That was really, really beautiful. And I'm going to start writing thank you notes today for myself.
Oh, excellent. And Purnima, even if you do one, what a great way to start out the new year.
I totally agree. So the next virtue you spoke about a bit earlier was about compassion. So I always think about compassion as gratitude for the other. Can you talk a little bit about compassion?
Sure. So compassion is typically defined as a feeling that happens when we see another person suffering. And the key thing is that we feel motivated to relieve that suffering. And the Buddhists define compassion as the heart that trembles in the face of suffering. And they believe it to be the most noble of human qualities. And I'd like to just read a quote by spiritual teacher Ram Dass, because he has a beautiful way to describe true compassion. "When you see someone who is hurting, typically you think and then act from your mind, I must go to them. But from the vantage point of the soul, you know that somebody is hurt, but you also recognize that hurt is part of all of us. In other words, when you identify with your soul, everybody is part of us. You don't react in a way of, I'm going to help that person. It's like one hand pulling the other out of the fire. It's all part of the same body. That's true compassion." And that always chokes me up a bit. Compassion is really viewing each other as we're one. There's no separatism. You hurt just as much as I hurt. I suffer. You suffer. I want to be happy. You want to be happy. So it's just this oneness that compassion provides. And I just want to show you a picture of a baby, which I think says it all about true compassion. So this little girl, the caption reads, "She barely gets any food to eat, but when she did, she offered some to the photographer." So really for me, my interpretation of the photo is that this little baby knows the pain of not having enough food. And she's assuming that everyone else feels that pain. So she offers her food to the photographer. And I just think, wow, that's true compassion right there.
I have no words after the picture. It was very moving. How can compassion make us happier? It evokes a very sweet, gentle, soft feeling towards the child, towards the universe, towards the world. And I want to know how that feeling can be birthed into joy for myself and for others.
Sure. So the Dalai Lama said, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. And that's a very popular saying that he wrote, and I just love it. So you could see in this picture, a man gives a homeless girl his sandals in Rio de Janeiro, and you could see that she's clearly moved by his gesture, and he, I'm sure, feels so good that he's giving her his sandals, because of the heat, and that's just another photo that really cuts to the chase or cuts to the core of what compassion is. It really strengthens our bonds with others. We acknowledge that we all suffer and that we all want to be happy. And, I have just a story about once I was traveling to Washington, D.C. with my husband, and we were boarding a plane. And right when you first get on the plane, I had entered the plane, and right before you first get on, there was a young girl. She couldn't have been more than 18. And I saw that she was clearly upset. She was trembling. She was crying. And I knew right then that she had a fear of flying. And of course, I'm terrified of flying as well. But I thought, I've got to help her. I just felt the need to help her. So I asked the stewardess, can you find a seat where I could possibly sit next to her and help her through the flight? And luckily, she was able to do that, the stewardess, and the girl sat next to me. And, I held her hand as we took off and just talked to her, asked her about her life. And she said she was joining the military for the first time. And basically, we talked throughout the flight, and she had calmed down, and, all went well. She got to her destination. So, I don't tell this story to boast. I really tell this story because when I look back on that memory, it's a happy one for me. And I'm sure that all of you viewing this video, you've had times in your life where you extended your grace to someone, and, it could have changed their life. It could have, really made them happy in that moment or feel better. And it's just a beautiful exchange. And it's just a great way to, connect with other people. So that's a key reason that it makes us happier, is this connection with others. So the next way it makes us happy is that it truly takes our focus away from ourselves and places it on people. And here's where we get a lot of joy, because if we're always focused on ourselves and our incessant thoughts and, what we need to get done, and really we're not even aware of other people in that moment. So that's what compassion does. It lessens our anxieties and worries because we're more focused on other people now and the needs of others.
Thank you so much, Stacey. And how can we practice compassion in our everyday life, in small, tiny things which we can do through our experience? How can we enrich another person's experience by practicing compassion?
Great question, Purnima. So one of the key ways to practice compassion is by listening to others sympathetically. This I really stress. There's a movie called As Good as It Gets. Many of you might have seen it. It's a great movie. And it stars Greg Kinnear, Helen Hunt, and Jack Nicholson. And they're all on a road trip to visit Greg Kinnear's parents. And Greg Kinnear is sitting in the front seat with Helen Hunt, and he starts to talk about a painful childhood memory to Helen. And Helen all of a sudden says, wait, I want to pull over because I want to give you my full attention. And so she does just that. She pulls over, and then she turns her entire body towards him, and she says, okay, now you have my attention. Please continue. And I just think that so illustrates, really giving our full attention to people. And it's not so easy. I mean, let's say your sister calls and your babies are screaming in the background, and, she's upset and she clearly wants to talk to you about something. And you say to her, is it possible I could call you back when things are quieter? Because I really want to hear what you have to say. So it's really letting people know I'm here. I hear your pain. I hear your suffering. I'm here to help you. And that's the thing. It's being mindful of this and just showing up for people in a really genuine way. The second way, and we talked about this to practice compassion, is just by becoming more mindful. So that we actually notice people in need. And there's a great Native American story called Birdfoot's Grandpa. And the story involves a grandfather and grandson, and it's told from the grandson's perspective. And I'll read it to you. The old man must have stopped our car 24 times to climb out and gather into his hands the small toads blinded by our lights and leaping live drops of rain. The rain was falling, a mist about his white hair, and I kept saying, "You can't save them all. Accept it. Get back in. We've got places to go." But leathery hands, full of wet brown life, knee-deep in the summer roadside grass, he just smiled and said, "They have places to go too." So I just think that, you know, at times in our life, sometimes we're the grandfather, sometimes we're the grandson. You know, we have places to go. We don't have time. We don't have time to help or to listen, or, you know, we're just, and this is natural. We're all human beings. So, and other times we're the grandfather, where we say, "Wait, I am going to help this person. You know, this person needs my help." So there's nothing wrong with either perspective. It's just that the grandfather's perspective, you know, he sees that we're all connected, and that leads to greater compassion. And actually, as I mentioned before, compassion protects us from feelings of busyness and stress, where we are focused less on ourselves and more on the needs of other people. So this is a great way to practice compassion. And the third way is through engaging in acts of kindness. And these days, acts of kindness has been all over the media, and it's just wonderful how so many people are engaged in this. And you could pay for a coffee for the driver behind you. I've done this a few times, and it's a really good feeling. You know, the bill can get pretty expensive, but that's okay. You can encourage others with our words, cheer up a loved one with a card, flowers, cookies, or a coffee date, or do volunteer work. So it's whatever you, however way you want to express your kindness.
You know, I just remembered a quote by Plato: "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a harder battle."
I love that quote too.
Yeah, so when you were talking about compassion, I was reminded of this. We just judge sometimes, but everybody's going through a lot of things, and we just need to, maybe if we don't understand, we just need to understand that we don't understand. We just need to be patient with ourselves and with others. So, you know, the other virtue you were speaking about is purpose. Everybody is looking for purpose, and rather than happiness, there have been studies which says that rather than happiness, purpose is what a human life is all about, and true purpose is what human beings are born for. So, you know, adding up to all that, I request you to talk about purpose.
Sure. Purpose is typically defined as an aim that gives us direction and guides our actions and behavior. It's typically aligned with what we value, what matters to us, what gives our life meaning. And, you know, purpose expert Richard Leader, he has a great definition of purpose that I'd like to read to you. Our purpose is an active expression of the deepest dimension within us, where we have a profound sense of who we are and why we're here. Purpose is the aim around which we structure our lives, a source of direction and energy. Through the lens of purpose, we are able to see ourselves and our future more clearly. He identifies purpose as our unique gift to the world, the reason we were born, and what gives our life meaning. And, you know, a purpose, you could have multiple purposes in life. You could be raising happy, moral children. You could have a beautiful garden and you find purpose in that. You could find purpose in your job, which is where most of us find our purpose. Some people seem to have their life defined by a purpose, right? So you have Michael Jordan, who plays basketball, and that seems to be his purpose in life. I'm sure he has other purposes too, but his life seems to be defined by that single purpose. Mother Teresa cared for the sick and needy, and Mark Twain wrote. So sometimes our lives are defined by a single purpose. Sometimes we have multiple purposes, and it changes, you know, over the years as well. So your purpose doesn't have to be jaw-dropping, like Elon Musk's purpose to accelerate space exploration. But of course it can be. But just something that gives your life meaning.
So, you know, moving on, I would like to ask you, how can a purpose make me happier? because sometimes you don't decide what your life purpose is. You just stumble upon it, you just discover it, and your purpose is actually a reason for living. So when you have not yet discovered it, or maybe when you have not yet decided that you have discovered it, how can actually purpose give us happiness?
One key way that purpose makes us happier is that it provides meaning in our life. And I'm sure, Permina, that you get great meaning out of doing these GLOW webinars. I'm assuming that, but I'm sure that it provides joy for you. So there's a man, Viktor Frankl, and he was a Holocaust survivor and a psychiatrist. And he wrote a famous memoir called Man's Search for Meaning, which I highly recommend. And he told of his experiences in the Nazi concentration camps. And what he noticed is that the prisoners who had more meaning in their life, they were able to survive longer, and they were able to withstand, what they were going through better. And that the people who didn't have meaning in their life, and of course this is very difficult to find in such miserable circumstances, he found that the people who didn't have this meaning in their life deteriorated quicker. So it's interesting. And I just want to read to you how he links happiness and meaning. And this is from his book, Man's Search for Meaning. To the European, it is a characteristic of the American culture that again and again one is commanded and ordered to be happy. But happiness cannot be pursued. It must ensue. One must have a reason to be happy. Once the reason is found, however, one becomes happy automatically. As we see, a human being is not one in pursuit of happiness, but rather in search of a reason to become happy. Last but not least, through actualizing the potential meaning inherent and dormant in a given situation. So he really believed that all human beings desire to have meaning in life, and that is key in having happiness arise inside of us instead of looking for how to be happy. So the second way that purpose makes us happier is it creates a joyful expression of our unique talents and skills. And anytime we engage in what we're talented at or what we're skilled at, we typically make a positive impact on other people. For example, if you're an artist, if you're a writer, if you have the purpose of having a garden, if you're a famous hockey player, there's so many purposes in life. So the more we do our talent or our skill, the more that we're going to make a positive impact on others, because we're really being our authentic selves. And when we're our authentic selves, we receive the most joy, because doing what we feel we're good at just makes us happier. So, and we feel more alive, and we feel energetic and motivated. Instead of dragging ourselves out of bed in the morning, we feel, wow, I'm so looking forward to doing this. Whatever it is, if you go to a studio in your house, an ideal dream for many people, and just work on what you love, it just makes life so enjoyable. So that's another key way, is to find what you're good at and express it. And so the third point in how purpose makes us happier is that it gives us guidance and direction in life. So now we feel more motivated. We're aligned with what we value and what matters to us in life. So now we get up in the morning, instead of dragging ourselves out of bed to do what we really don't want to do, we found something that brings us joy. And of course, it could be a part-time job. So a lot of us have to pay bills, so we can't do what we really love at this moment. We have to pay our bills and make a living and support a family. But as long as we can squeeze it into a part of our day, it will make us feel better. It really will. So it basically guides it's a filter by which we run our decisions by. And it's just a beautiful way to give our lives direction.
Thank you so much, Stacey. Can you tell us, how can we practice purpose? How can practicing purpose make us happier, if you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Really, it's distinguishing what your purpose is. What gives your life meaning? So if you don't have that in your job, you know, it's really about self-discovery. It's thinking, you know, what makes you happy in life? You know, what passions do you have? And this is where purpose arises from, all of these things. And it could also arise from a quest. You know, some people just naturally have a passion for something. And it's just wonderful to see. I have a girlfriend, her name is Joy, and she has always had a passion for sailing. And her father taught her sailing when she was young, and she just loves taking people out on her sailboat. She actually has a chartering business where she takes people out in Long Island Sound here in New Haven, and and she also takes them on trips such as to Greece, to Cuba, and she just loves giving the experience of sailing to others. It just enriches her life in a harmonious way. And I just think that if you could find what stirs your soul, boy, that's a beautiful thing. And you know, it may take some time. You might have to try a lot of different things. But I believe that all of us have something that really puts a fire in our heart. And it's just a matter of finding that. And you know, there's all kinds of different resources to help you with that. You know, in books or online. You know, you could simply Google, you know, help me find my purpose, something like that. So that's the key thing before anything else is just to distinguish what it is for yourself. And I just want to talk about a quest. You know, a quest gives us purpose, and a quest is engaging in something, you know, for a certain period of time. Like, for example, you could have a quest to visit every country in the world, or you could have a quest to read all the classic books, or you could have a quest to get a college degree. So a quest really does put purpose into our life. And there's so many quests that you can engage in life. So really those three things. And also I want to add, which I didn't have on the slide, is what do you value in life? Values really make up our character. They're helpful in knowing ourselves. And there's a great website called VIA, I think it's VIA.org, and I'll have this in the workbook, where you could do what they call a strengths test. And that really will tell you, you know, what your strong suits are. And that could clue into what you value and help you in finding out that. So really it's those four ways that purpose arises. You know, from what we value, what matters to us, from what makes us happy, a passion that we may have, or a quest. So the key thing in the last point on the slide is to make time for your purpose. So let's say you have found it. Now you definitely want more of it. So, you know, so often in life we get pushed and pulled in so many different directions. You know, what makes us happy is actually put on a back burner in favor of all of our obligations and responsibilities, such as children, our jobs. So really it is taking the time to make it a priority. I can't stress this enough because life just goes by, as we all know. You know, days, months, years can go by and you still haven't written that book. You still haven't done that painting. You know, you still haven't done that volunteer work that you so want to do. It's really making it a priority. It's a kind of self-compassion. It's a kind of taking care of ourselves and, you know, what our needs are. And it's really just important to do that as a way to practice purpose, is to make it a priority in your life. And that's really the two things for practicing purpose.
Thank you so much, Stacey. All of that was very exhaustive and very useful to all of us as we begin this new year 2021. And as we hope to come out of the pandemic, which has kept us all under lockdown, I hope that these virtues can lead us into a more gratifying, fulfilling, purposeful, and joyful life. Okay, so we were also earlier mentioning about workbook which you wish to share with all of us to help practice these three virtues. Would you like to talk about that? And can you tell us how and when and how are we going to share this workbook with our participants?
So the workbook is designed to help you cultivate the 3 different virtues: compassion, gratitude, and purpose. And it covers some of what I talked about today, and also provides thought-provoking discussion and questions. And it'll just help you to make this virtue more prevalent in your life, these virtues more prevalent in your life. And I also put in there ways to practice the virtue, some of the ways that we talked about today, and finally resources on the virtue. And these are resources that I've researched over the years, found to be very useful in practicing these virtues. So I hope your viewers enjoy the workbook and find it useful.
Thank you so much, Stacey. I'm sure it's going to be useful. I, for one, look forward to that workbook. And for all the participants who have joined us today, the practice workbook will be uploaded on the website of the Glow Heartfulness Webinars. It will also be available on a comment section below the video of this webinar. If you have difficulty downloading it, please write to me at glow@heartfulness.org, which is GLOW, glow@heartfulness.org. And I'll see to it that you receive a copy of this workbook. Thank you so much, Stacey, for this beautiful webinar and for sharing all these beautiful qualities, these virtues which we can pick up through these tiny experiences which we have every day. Going forward, 2021 is going to be a virtuous year. And we've all adapted so well to this change of the pandemic. And I'm looking forward to 2021. On that positive note, I would like to have an experiential session of heartfulness, relaxation, and meditation. As you know, in heartfulness meditation, we meditate on the source of life in the heart which is the seat of all these beautiful virtues like love, joy, compassion, integrity, honesty, and heart being the seat of all the beautiful virtues. A session of heartfulness meditation on the source of light in the heart is surely going to aid this beautiful webinar which you've shared with all of us. So if you're ready and if all of the participants are ready, sit comfortably and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Let's begin from the toes. Wiggle your toes. Relax your toes. Relax your feet. Feel an energy rising from Mother Earth and moving up your feet to your legs. As this energy moves up your legs, it relaxes your legs. It slowly, gently moves up, relaxing your knees, relaxing your thighs. And as it moves up, it relaxes your hips, gently relaxing your lower back. And relaxing your upper back. Feel your whole back completely relaxed and rejuvenated. Gently bring your attention to your stomach. Feel this energy relaxing your stomach, your intestines. This energy moves up slowly and gently, and you can feel your chest relaxing. You can feel your shoulders relaxing. You can feel the energy moving through your arms, relaxing your arms, your forearms, your elbows, your wrist, your palm, your fingers. This energy oozes out of your fingertips. Your arms are completely relaxed now. Slowly bring your attention to your neck. and feel this energy relaxing the muscles of your neck. Feel your neck melting away, the tension and stress, the muscular tension, stress on the neck. Everything is gently relaxed. Feel this energy moving up to your face, to your head, relaxing your facial muscles, your jaws, lips, cheeks, ears, earlobes, nose, eyes, forehead, till the tip of your head. All your facial muscles are completely relaxed. Slowly bring your attention to your heart. The heart, which is the source of love and light. Let's meditate on the source of light in the heart. If your attention wanders to other thoughts, gently brush them away and bring your attention back to the heart. This light in the heart is drawing you deep within. It is helping you meditate. It is helping you slip deep into meditation. Let's meditate together for a few minutes. Gently open your eyes when you're ready. So how did you feel, Stacey?
Oh, that was wonderful. I feel very relaxed.
Okay, thank you. And for the participants, if you would like to continue heartfulness, relaxation, and meditation, we would put up a few resources towards the end of this webinar. Please log into heartfulness.org and you can sign up and you can begin your heartfulness journey. There are also 3 free masterclasses online on the Heartfulness website. These masterclasses are conducted by the Global Guide of Heartfulness, whom we affectionately call Daji. And these are amazing, let me tell you. Though I have practiced heartfulness meditation for about 16, 17 years, every time I listen to these master classes, it's like I'm so refreshed. So let's do it. And thank you so much, Stacey, for doing this webinar. And we are really grateful. One of the virtues which you spoke about, we're so grateful for your presence and for your knowledge and wisdom and guidance. If you have any closing thoughts, go.
Sure. Well, I of course want to thank you, Sure. Of course, I want to thank you, Purnima, for this opportunity to actually share my passion in life, and that is practicing virtues and the power that virtues can have on our lives. And, as we go through this pandemic and all of the other personal issues we have, I hope that these 3 virtues can help you increase your happiness. And I want to also thank the Heartfulness Institute for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Stacey. Thanks to the participants, and sign up for the masterclasses. You can also sign up for the Udemy course, and watch out for all the links towards the end of this webinar. And we would also be sending you Stacey's workbook, and you can get in touch with Stacey directly or through us. You can write to us at glow@heartfulness.org. Thank you so much once again, and have a beautiful, wonderful, virtuous month ahead. Goodbye.
Goodbye.